Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be discussing the latest events in the Boku no Hero story, including more reveals about the true nature of Deku's quirk. I will also talk about why I think that Deku is about to make a huge mistake. A mistake that could cost many innocent lives and completely change Deku as a person. The theory that we are about to go through a very dark time skip in Boku no Hero is getting more and more plausible, so let's get into it. If you enjoyed the Boku no Hero content here on the channel and you want us to keep it going, please leave a like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really does help. And if you are new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of subscribing, hitting that bell, and then selecting the option that says all. I know it's annoying, but if you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a ton of our videos. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. Finally, this video will of course contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. So, in the previous chapter, we had that whole reveal about Deku possibly being the final one-for-all user. And then, at the very end of the chapter, the vestige of Nana Shimura looked Deku right in the eye and asked him whether he would be able to kill her grandson, Tomura Shigaraki. By the way, am I the only one who thinks that Nana is looking pretty damn good in that first panel of chapter 305? Like, I realize that is in no way relevant to the story, but still, damn. Anyway, Nana explains to Deku that the vestiges can sense the same thoughts and feelings that Deku is sensing. And during that fight with Shigaraki, Deku saw that deep on the inside, Shigaraki is just a crying child who is in terrible pain. The vestiges of the former one-for-all users can also sense that Shigaraki is being hurt by All for One. But that doesn't mean that Shigaraki wants or would even accept help from the heroes. He is still full of hatred for the hero society, and he is still a murderous villain. Shigaraki has been shaped and manipulated by All for One from a very young age. And at this point, All for One is pretty much controlling Shigaraki's body. Not just in terms of psychological manipulation, which he has been doing all along, but physically as well. This puts Deku and the former users in a difficult situation. On the one hand, killing Shigaraki would eliminate him as a threat and probably save many innocent lives. But on the other hand, since Shigaraki is also a victim of All for One, just killing him seems cruel and unfair. We then learn more about One for All as a quirk, and particularly the question of whether it can ever be stolen. As we know, All for One has been trying to steal One for All for decades, and in fact, Daigoro Banjo explains that All for One tried to steal One for All from him and from his successor. All for One failed both times, but in order for One for All to remain safe from All for One, every successor must have an iron will and infinite determination. In the past, we've been told that One for All cannot be transferred to someone else without the consent of the current user. And that has led many people to conclude that One for All can never be stolen, period. I know from comments on my MHA videos that many people out there believe that One for All can never be stolen and that All for One is just wasting his time. But that never made sense to me. Would All for One, a criminal mastermind with dozens of quirks at his disposal, really be stupid enough to spend decades of his life trying to achieve something that was always straight up impossible? If All for One is so committed to stealing One for All, and if he's been trying to do it for generations, then he must believe that stealing the quirk is indeed possible. And this particular conversation between Deku and the former users does seem to suggest that the user's willpower plays some role in whether or not One for All can be stolen. It seems that One for All cannot be stolen if the user has very strong willpower and determination, but maybe it can be stolen if the user falters and loses his or her determination for whatever reason. Nana then explains to Deku that Tomura is her grandson who became what he is today because she abandoned his father at a young age. In that sense, Shigaraki's tragic fate is the indirect result of Nana's own actions. Nana knows that her failure to defeat All For One is to blame for what Shigaraki has become, and she feels terrible about now trying to place the burden of killing him upon a 16-year-old boy. But Nana also knows that if the newly awakened Shigaraki reaches his full potential, nothing will be able to stop him. He will become the pure manifestation of evil, and his power will be beyond comprehension. Deku understands this difficult predicament, but he explains that back when he had faced off against Shigaraki, he got a brief glimpse into the deepest parts of Shigaraki's mind. And there, Deku could feel that Shigaraki, the real Shigaraki, or I guess I should say Tenko Shimura, was just a crying child. He was still that young boy who was abused by his father and then pushed to the breaking point by the sudden appearance of his deadly quirk. Deku says that One for All is a power meant for saving people, not for killing people. All Might taught him that important lesson, and so, even though there is a strong possibility that the only way to stop Shigaraki will be to kill him, Deku still wants to try to save him. He still wants to try saving that crying child. The first One for All user is glad to hear this, and he vows that the former users are here to guide Deku on this journey. Nana then apologizes for testing Deku with such a difficult question, but both she and the first user are very happy that Deku was the one who became their successor. Nana regrets that she and Gran Torino abandoned Shigaraki's father in order to focus on fighting All For One, but she is now pinning all of her hopes on Deku. She hopes that Deku can find a way to rescue that little crying boy, her grandson, from the clutches of All For One. On the final page of this chapter, the first One For All user turns to the other two users, the second user and the third user. Those are the two guys who are just standing in the background and facing the wall. The first One For All user tells them to chime in and tell Deku what to expect from their quirks, and that is how this chapter ends. Man, Horikoshi has really piqued my curiosity about these two mysterious former users. Who were they, and why are they going out of their way to hide their faces from Deku? And what information are they about to reveal? I've heard some crazy theories about these two, like the theory that the guy whose hair looks like Bakugo's is actually Bakugo from the future who somehow traveled to the past. But I really don't know what to think. Did these guys do something bad during their lives and they are hiding because they're ashamed? Or do they have extremely powerful quirks which are difficult to master, and so they are hiding from Deku until he is strong enough to handle their quirks? Because maybe if he manifests them too early, they could actually hurt him. Definitely let me know what you guys think about these two users down in the comments. Why are they hiding, and what kind of quirks do you think they possess? Now, I want to talk a bit about this whole Deku trying to save Shigaraki thing. I think that Deku might be making a huge mistake by trying to save Shigaraki instead of killing him. Yes, it's true that Shigaraki was manipulated by All For One, and it's true that All For One is now trying to control Shigaraki against his will. But we have to remember that despite being a victim of All For One, Shigaraki is still a murderous villain. He still killed a whole bunch of people even when he wasn't being directly controlled by All For One. So this is not just some misunderstood anti-hero we're talking about here. Shigaraki is a ruthless mass murderer, and even if you like him as a character, you have to admit that from a hero's perspective, killing Shigaraki is by far the most practical solution. To me, the Shigaraki situation is similar to the Dabi situation. Yes, Dabi was victimized by his father when he was still a child, and yes, that was unfair. But Dabi is an adult now, and he alone is responsible for the decisions that he makes as an adult. It's not Endeavor's fault that he chose to become a villain and kill a whole bunch of people. It's Dabi's fault. And the same goes for Shigaraki. He is no longer that crying kid. Like, yes, he still has scars from that time, scars which clearly haven't healed, but when Shigaraki decided to reduce the entire hospital in Jakku to ashes, killing multiple people in the process, he made that decision on his own. When he decided to undergo Ujiko's procedure in the first place, he made that decision on his own. When he decided to become the leader of the Paranormal Liberation Front, he made that decision on his own, and so on. Now yes, ideally, Deku won't have to kill Shigaraki, he'll just be able to capture him and send him to prison. But what if the next time that Deku and Shigaraki meet, conditions are not ideal? What if Deku finds himself in a situation where he either has to kill Shigaraki now, or let him get away? Will Deku let Shigaraki escape because he wants to save him? And will Shigaraki then go on to kill a bunch of people later because Deku let him get away? How would Deku react if this came to pass? How would Deku ever forgive himself if he allowed Shigaraki to escape, and then innocent people died as a result of him letting Shigaraki escape? I feel like Deku would never forgive himself for that. He would be absolutely traumatized, and he would be turned into a completely different person by that trauma. That is why I believe that trying to save Shigaraki could be a huge mistake. As an adult, Shigaraki had a chance to make his own decisions, and those decisions have sometimes led to the deaths of innocent people. So Shigaraki is not some well-meaning guy with a heart of gold who just made some mistakes. Shigaraki is a killer, and he will kill again if given the chance. And the longer Shigaraki stays alive, the stronger he will become because of Ujiko's procedure. So yeah, allowing Shigaraki to live could be a very big mistake. I can of course understand why Nana wants to save her grandson, and I can understand why a hero like Deku would want to avoid killing anyone. But this is not an ideal world, and sometimes you have to make difficult choices or you will suffer the consequences. Whatever happens though, it's going to be very, very interesting. I am extremely curious to see what's going to happen next in the story, and I can't wait to learn more about those two mysterious former users. Also, does anyone else get the vibe that Nana and Gran Torino were in a romantic relationship? Like, I don't know if Gran Torino is Shigaraki's grandfather, or just someone Nana was with after having her son with someone else. But I've been getting romantic vibes from Nana and Gran Torino for a long time. Am I the only one? Feel free to share your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Boku no Hero content right here on the channel, please leave a like to let me know, it really does help. And if you are new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you've been watching our videos but you haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. A big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma, disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, The World, A Quiet Respect, Pate Heffa, Liam Thompson, Aljatal, Dr. Courtman, Johnny Boy Draws, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tanel, Baked Buddhist, and Tungsten Tarkus. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazatsky, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Jessica Calafond, Rathuin Deora, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, The Red-Haired Raven, Joanne Garcia, Jack Watches Anime, Fatboy Games, Ted No Ted, Deadly Saint, Matthew Cruz, and Anthony Schreiber. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!